In this video, I'm going to show you 9 tips that you can use to get your very first Amazon product started. And I want you to keep in mind, most people take years to get this done. I'm not joking when I say that, but there's a lot of people that put too much emphasis on just picking a product, and instead of just jumping right in there and picking that product, they overanalyze, they overthink, and they do all that stuff. These 9 tips are going to prevent you from overanalyzing what you have in front of you, and they're going to allow you to just get out there, pick a product, and get started making money on Amazon. So let's get ready to jump straight in. And I'm going to start with tip number 1, which is probably the most important tip. And that tip is there is no perfect product. That's right, I said it. There is not a perfect product. So once again, do not analyze, overanalyze, overthink, and just stop yourself from getting in your own freaking way. And perfect example is I can show you actually one of the products that I sourced at first. So let's just jump straight into my screen share. And I know that you guys are going to have a good laugh when you see this ridiculous product. All right, so I'm in Amazon here and I'm going to search curling iron glove. And I know for a lot of people, if they've seen my previous videos, they will know that this product right here is one of the very first products that I ever sourced. In fact, if there's enough interest in this, I will break it down, show you guys exactly how much profit I made on this actual gem. And truth be told, the price of this product that I paid was 25 cents a glove. So let's just take a look at this product and you're going to see why it's not perfect. And as you can see here, they typically sell for one glove $4.98. I was selling one glove for $9.95, and keep in mind my cost was 25 cents. And as you can see, 2 pieces here, $6.99. At the time, these guys were probably my biggest competition. Right here, these guys are now at $4.98. They're at 2,300 reviews. It's at 700 in beauty. And these guys are at $6.99, 18,000 in beauty. They're not selling too well, but let's just take a look. The site called FBAtoolkit.com. You can actually put in the number of rank, BSR, and you can find out how many units they're selling. Now keep in mind, it's not going to be exact for anything under 1,000, but over 1,000, these guys with the pink glove are selling between 6 and 9 a day. If I put in 749 here and find out what the top competitor is selling, it's going to be a lot less than what it really is, which is 81 units per day that they are selling. And I was at about 40 to 50 units. There is no perfect product. Get in there and just sell something, which brings me to tip number 2. And this tip is pretty much self-explanatory, yet a lot of people will not do this, and that is start a spreadsheet. I prefer to put my spreadsheet on Google Drives, and you will see just how stupid simple this crap is. All I have is a list right here. It says product idea. This is where I write whatever product in that I have an idea for. Right now, earlier I was sourcing and I happened to come across a baby bow, which I'm going to show in another video how lucrative the baby niche can be. But all I really need is to get a link to the best-selling product. I need to know what the actual BSR is. I need to know what kind of reviews we're looking at. And then I need to know does its actual keyword criteria fit what I'm looking for? And it's going to be covered in a whole nother video. And then lastly, what is the price that I'm looking at? So I have an idea when I go out there and try and source it in China, what kind of price I want. It's really that simple, yet a lot of people don't organize this crap. They prefer to just write it down on paper. I'm a paper and pen kind of gal, but you have to understand, keep it organized in a spreadsheet, which leads me to tip number 3. And that is understand your strengths, your weaknesses, and your goals. And the reason for that is that we want to have an idea of what niche might be our best niche to jump into. And I'll give you an example. If I just started to write down my strengths here and just put them on this actual spreadsheet. Now, I recommend to put it on a paper or somewhere else. But my strengths are that I have a good, solid network of Amazon ranking experts, right? including myself, have somewhat become of an expert just hanging around with the right amount of people. So that basically means that I can go out there and really source any product in any niche. Now, my strengths are, I had a comic book store, so I have a comic store background, which also means that I sold a lot of toys, so I have an expertise in the toy niche. And I can keep going and going. There's a chance that you could be an expert in the fitness niche. One of my current clients and partners is a actual personal trainer. He owns a personal training business, and his personal training business gives him a background in the sports nutrition world. So if he sources a fitness product, he could very easily put together a workout program for that fitness product. So think about what your strengths and your weaknesses are, which goes in the second one. Sometimes I procrastinate. Like I don't make these YouTube videos until the last minute, and I also spell like shit, as you can see right there. Spelling sucks, so that probably means that I can't do the copywriting. That's one of my weaknesses. And I procrastinate, so I need somebody to help hold me accountable to do these kinds of things. But write down your real weaknesses, and then you can kind of have a general idea of where we're going with this. And then lastly, what are your goals? Is your goal to sell the company? Is your goal to keep the company and have a passive income? So just write them out and know what's going on. That way you kind of have an idea. Like the baby niche, I don't know a damn thing about babies, so the baby niche might not be for me. So that pretty much means I shouldn't waste my time looking at products that are in the baby niche, right? However, I have a toy background, so maybe I should start looking in toys, and I know the things that are going to stop me from achieving my goals. So write all these down. They're extremely important. Most people don't even think about how these are associated with the goals they want to achieve on Amazon, which brings me to the next tip. Which is, when you're sourcing products, you might already have a lot of pre-existing ideas, as well as there's some random ideas that can be generated by certain techniques. So let me show you pre-existing. If you have pre-existing ideas, all you basically have to do is go into your sourcing spreadsheet and write them down. As I spoke earlier, you might be in the fitness niche and you might be interested in sourcing fitness products. So we could just put fitness products here. And then now we know that when we go down to Amazon, it's as simple as going over to Amazon.com and continue to spell like shit and look up fitness. Let's see what pops up. And now we can write all these down in our actual sourcing spreadsheet. There are ideas that we might not have known, like fitness trackers are hot right now, fitness gloves, fitness trampolines. I might not have known any of these. They just sort of popped up randomly. However, they were created by this already like preconceived idea that I had in my head. Another way to do this is by going and searching Amazon bestsellers. And this is probably the technique that's most overused by people. They use this technique to find products, but the one thing that they fail to do is they look at the top bestsellers, but they fail to actually click into the nested niche. So I'll show you what I mean. If I'm wanting to source a sports fitness product, I'll go to sports and outdoors. And now that opens up 3 different sections. The sports and fitness, which I'll go ahead and click into, that's a nest of product ideas. And now that opens up even more ideas. Let's say that my sports, I was actually had a background in exercise and fitness, which my client happens to have. And now you can see a bunch of other things pop up. Now, while he doesn't do a lot of Pilates or yoga, he's more like a buff dude that likes to lift weights. Maybe I'm a Pilates expert, which I am not, but I can now click into Pilates and I see a lot of other things that continue to open up. Now, fitness circles, I've got no idea what this is. I don't do Pilates. However, they're good enough to be able to pop up in the Pilates. And now I can see that these things are pretty red hot. Fitness circles or Pilates rings are pretty hot. Even Amazon Basics is in on it. And now I can use a third-party tool to actually investigate. So what I'm going to do is jump back up here, and now I could put Pilates rings, right? Something that I had no idea existed, but now through the actual investigation from this actual tactic, I'm able to put Pilates rings on there and use them as an idea. And they look like a pretty good product. We could later on go and investigate and see if it fits all of our criteria. But the goal right now is to just make this gigantic list. All right, so let's jump into the next tip. And my next tip is that as an absolute necessity, you're going to have a tool like either Market Intelligence or Jungle Scout that actually gives you some of this data. And I'll show you the data that's important to record. So we're going to look at Pilates ring, which we just found before using the nested technique. And we're going to see that when we get everything to populate, we can either use Jungle Scout, which is right here as a Chrome extension, Market Intelligence also as a Chrome extension. Both of them work, but we're going to see that now the numbers are popping up. And the numbers that we want to look at are the price, and we want to look at the number of revenue that they have, and then we also want to look at how many reviews. We want to focus on a niche that doesn't have that many reviews. As we can see, there's a high demand for this right now because Pilates is hot right now. Not a lot of reviews, which means we could compete, and a lot of people are making over $10,000 a month. And the price is at about an average of $22, which is good enough, but average reviews 118. That's not a lot. So that all looks pretty good. So what I would do in my sourcing spreadsheet is just go off here and link the top selling product that I would right now, as of now, this is a preliminary search, but want to model. So I'm going to pick the one that comes up for these. Like this is a Pilates ring that comes up. I'm going to pick on these guys and just jump in there and then just link this particular product, put it into my sourcing spreadsheet so that later on I can actually look at it and analyze it. And then notice here that the average sales rank is 138, but we want to look at what the top ones are doing. The sales rank criteria, there's quite a bit. If we look at BSR, which is right here, there's a lot under what I like to look for, which is 5,000. Now, these are just guidelines because we're just doing preliminary research, but I just want to show you what to look for when you're looking for a product. So there's plenty that are under 5,000 BSR. So all I'm going to do is just check this off. That's all I really want here is a check off. I want to make sure there's not a lot of people over 1,000 reviews that qualified. And then I want to look and make sure there's plenty of keywords, which you're going to need a keyword program to do that. What I'm going to say. Hold on. Which will need something like either market intelligence or there's something called merchant words. And that's primarily why market intelligence is my choice to go with overall because it has everything. But here you can even have, a couple of, let me show you Pilates ring. They'll give you a couple searches, and that's really what you want to do. You want to see, all right, fuck. Okay, so you're gonna need some kind of keyword tool, and that's why I prefer overall to use market intelligence because of the fact that they have all these tools in one. There's also Helium 10, but I've never really tried it. My preference is market intelligence. So I'm logged in here, and I'm gonna go to the keyword research section, and I'm gonna go ahead and hit Pilates ring. And what I wanna see is related to Pilates ring, are there a lot of other words that have a pretty good, decent amount of keyword volume? Pilates ring has 9,200 searches. Pilates circle has 942. Magic circle Pilates has 1,029. You notice the actual priority score is very close to 1,000. That's what we want to see. Fitness ring 1,600. I don't know about magic circle. Resistance ring is about the same thing. They don't have that much, but in general, there's about 5 words that have a pretty decent demand. So that would also hit the criteria right there. And then lastly, there's price. We know that's about $22.19 as per what Jungle Scout said. So usually I like to just glance through these before I do another assessment, but that's basically what I want to look at. I want to look at, does it at least meet these basic requirements? Which brings me to the next tip. And this tip is goes a little bit beyond the scope of this video, but it's once again analyzing the market as a whole instead of one keyword. That is the single biggest error I see most people doing, is most people tell their students, get out there and look to see if this has enough keyword volume, and they just want to look at that one word, right? Which in this case would be Pilates circle. But Pilates circle isn't just a Pilates circle, it's so many more things. And so you want to look at the market as a whole. Is there a basket of keywords that, along with Pilates ring, contribute to sales to this particular product? In this case, it's possibly, because we see a bunch with a lot of actual demand. But in order to actually find out the true demand, we'd have to go in there and search each of these on Amazon and then look at the sales number for those. And if all that matched our criteria and past the BSR, past the reviews, past the keyword, and past the price, then it would be a thumbs up. And again, I'm giving you guys kind of the quick rundown. That's what I would look for overall. But this will be more than enough to help you find your very first product, because again, people usually overthink the product picking process. So the next tip So the next tip is thinking how initially, already in your mind, you can differentiate this product from all the competitors. At first, it could be something as simple as color, or including maybe 2 of these rings, which I think that wouldn't have a purpose. But right here, as you can see, this Duck's Ridge included a ball and some resistance bands to already differentiate the product versus what everyone else is doing. These guys right here, Mantra, included some kind of card for Pilates exercises. And so that makes it extremely valuable, because you could buy the product and already be able to know what to do with it just by having their exercise card. And they also included this bag. So be thinking early on, how can I make this different already by including something that my competitors are not? Amazon Basics just has a ring. Aero Pilates just has a ring. But Nature's and Mantra have something additional. That's why Mantra's ranked 3,100 in sports. And these guys are 30,000. They're not doing as good a job. But notice that these guys are fairly, I don't think they've been around as long as some guys like these. Like this Pilates ring here for $19.90. If we take a look at what Keepa shows us, they have been around for about 659 days. And Mantra has been around for about, right here, 1,484 days. So they've actually been around longer, but these guys are selling better than them, and it could just be the price. But they're still able to command an extra $6 for a bag, which probably cost them 20 cents, and a card, which probably cost them 5 cents after they first made it. And this is just a ring by itself. So again, they might be selling for less, but they're getting $5 more or $6 more, I can't add or subtract, per product, because of the fact that they have these extra things in them. Same thing with these guys. They're getting about $2 more, but not selling as well as Mantra. These guys are just selling it super cheap with all that stuff, and they're still not selling as well as Mantra either, but I don't know what to tell them. They probably need to do some more addition and make the product better. All right, let's get to the next tip. And the next tip is something that usually most people overlook, and that is think of your overall cost, your budget. So if we look at our budget consists of not only the inventory price, but it's also going to cost us a price to launch, and it's also going to cost us a cost to acquire reviews. So we got to consider those 3 things. Most people only consider the inventory. So they budget for the first round of inventory. They don't think about the second round, and they don't think forward and what they're going to have to do. And then they don't think about launch costs and review costs. These 2 costs are probably more important than budget, because they will be more expensive and more important to the success of your product. So don't get caught with your pants down only budgeting for the first round of inventory. Think of the second round, which you're still going to have some inventory at Amazon, and there's still a certain amount of time in order for it to arrive to you. And think about how much it's going to cost you to launch. If you're going to do a launch to pay third-party service, and or you're going to try and do it yourself through Facebook or something. And then lastly, think about reviews. Reviews are extremely valuable right now on Amazon. So you're going to need to budget some money and put some advertising dollars into acquiring reviews. So don't forget those. Those are the most important things in all of Amazon, the launch and the review costs. Don't just budget for inventory. Trust me on this one. And then my final tip, which is probably another really important one, make a deadline for picking your first product. Most people do this wrong and they overthink this for months and months. However, be smart, pick at least a 2-week deadline, and by the end of 2 weeks, make it a point to where you want to have the product picked out and ready to go and even sourced if possible. By that point, you should already be negotiating with China. You should already be ready to make your first order, and you should almost be ready to launch your very first product on Amazon. Now, trust me when I say this, if I had had all these tips when I first started, I would have accelerated on Amazon much quicker than I did. As a result of not having them, it took me over 7 years to figure all this out. So you guys get to learn from the lessons that I learned the hard way. Again, as always, subscribe to the channel if you can, and go ahead and click the like button. Let me know if you have any questions. I personally answer them almost every single day. So I'll see you guys in the next video.